Out on this cold morning, looking to see what wildlife I can find at a local refuge. I'm headed down to a brook. I'm not sure if it's going to be frozen or not, but it's usually a good spot to find wildlife. I've seen bears and deer and owl and such there. So I'm making my way down hill into the valley where the brook is, and I'm sitting up here now because I'm hearing something moving around down below. And I can't tell if it's squirrels rustling in the leaves or if it's something bigger. The ground is really frozen, so any step, any movement, it's very loud. So I'm just gonna sit here and see if I can figure out what it is that's making the noise. I think it was 2 squirrels that were moving around. I saw one hopping around on the ground, and I think it's just another one over here. So I'm gonna start making my way downhill. Thinking that because it's so cold this morning, it's going to be a higher chance that things will be out and about still, maybe in the valley, lower elevation. It's only a few hundred feet lower, but still. But I guess we'll find out soon enough. I'm down in the valley now. I just crossed over the brook. And there's a lot of nuthatch and chickadees above me calling. So I'm just kind of sit here for a second and see if they maybe come down lower. And then maybe I'll be able to hear something else walking through the forest as well. is really exciting. So this is a spot that I've seen red squirrel before. They're much less common than the gray squirrel. But I'd seen one here a couple weeks ago. Actually, it's more like a couple months ago now. And I was actually able to photograph it. It kind of hides behind these logs here. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's the red squirrel. There's actually one that I saw behind me, and I was photographing it. And I turned around and there's another one on the log behind me. And I actually scared that one. And he went up the tree and started doing his alarm call. And now the one that I was originally photographing and had found was doing its alarm call. The two squirrels were doing their alarm calls, but they stopped now. So I'm gonna kind of find a spot over here in front of me. Well, I know I've seen the one going up in these branches and in these limbs that are down trees. I'll just kind of sit and wait and see if they come out. I don't know if they're going to come out now that they know that I'm here. Before they didn't know I was here. Oh, wait, he's out now. Oh, hold on. Alright, he just ducked down again, but he's still out and about. So I'm going to move over behind that log there. I'll get behind that log, because he seems to be uphill a little bit. And we'll see if he comes out again. Well, I've been sitting here trying to get some photos of this red squirrel, and it sounds like the flock of chickadees, nuthatches, and juncos is coming back around, so maybe they'll come through here as well, which is good because I've been sitting here freezing, so some action will be good. That was really nice. I just left the squirrel. Actually, squirrels. I think there's at least 3 of them that I saw. Which is really cool that they're still in the same spot that I saw them before. But as I was leaving, it was the one that I had been photographing was sunning itself on a log. And it was just sitting there perfectly in the sun. So I decided to leave it, let it be, so it can warm up, because I needed to warm up too because I'm freezing. I can't feel my fingers or my toes, So hopefully walking around will get some blood flowing again. But it was a really nice experience just to be able to sit there. And the 2 flocks came through. The second one, it just kind of stayed up in the canopy. They didn't come down to the forest floor, which is fine. But yeah, let's see what else we can find. I've walked quite a ways now, and I finally starting to get feeling back in my toes, so that's good. Followed a trail that kind of goes parallel to this brook, which is what I'm coming up on now. And it's also usually a good spot to find some birds, and it's pretty open. So maybe if there's any deer or anything foraging down here in this valley, I should be able to see them pretty clearly if they're here. So we'll see if anything's out and about down here. There's a kingfisher calling down the brook a little ways. I don't see it, but I hear it. It doesn't sound too far away, so I'm hoping that maybe it'll come over here. There's a couple good perches in front of me and behind me. But I'm just gonna stay here because they're very skittish. I know if I try to go over towards where I hear it, it's just gonna fly down this brook farther. So I'm gonna sit here. Hopefully it comes over. Well, haven't heard the kingfisher for a little while. I went back down the path a little bit that kind of runs parallel to the brook and couldn't see it, let alone hear it. So I think it went farther back down the brook away from me. So I'm gonna continue back up and continue going on. Alright, well, I am at a different part of the refuge now. This part is still a floodplain forest, essentially. It's got an uphill section of where I am now, where it's all pines, and then it goes down into more of a mixed forest. This spot in particular is where I've seen a lot of barred owl activity. Nothing recently, because I haven't been here recently, but this past summer there was a whole family of at least 3 barred owls. So I'm hoping that maybe one is still around. So I'm going to keep looking up for that. But I've also seen pretty much everything else here. I had trail cameras set up around here, so I've seen a lot of activity. So I'm gonna make my way that way and probably find a spot to have my lunch and sit, and hopefully something will come about. Walking down and I saw a feather, looks like from a downy woodpecker, and then I saw a pile of scat next to it. Then I looked over farther and there's a huge pile of scat. It looks like it's a spot where something comes pretty regularly to scent. Let's see. that is. Doesn't look like there's any hair in it, so I wouldn't think. Coyote. It looks pretty small. I don't know if maybe it would be fox. I don't know. I looked at it a little bit more, and it looked like it might be, there's a lot of seed material in it. So I wonder if maybe it's a raccoon or a possum. Both of which I've seen over in this area. I'm pausing here for a minute because there's a squirrel that's foraging in front of me. And rather than just walking straight towards it and making it flee and probably sounding its alarm call, I'm just gonna let it pass. The longer I can keep the forest kind of quiet and not let everybody know that I'm here, the better chance I'll have at finding something. Alright, well, the barred owl's still here. Just saw it take off from a tree about 75 yards in front of me and flew over towards the direction of where I'm headed into the forest. So now I have to be ridiculously quiet. Every step sounds like breaking glass. Well, I have found it, but I have no clear shot of it. So I'm just gonna sit and wait here. I think it's probably going to fly again. But we'll see. I'm just gonna sit here and wait and see what it does. Alright, like I thought, it just flew again. It was getting pestered by a woodpecker and a bunch of chickadees. You can still hear the squirrels calling their alarm calls. It went farther uphill. So I'm gonna kind of go uphill, but not directly at it. So hopefully I won't scare it away. I don't know where the owl went. I'm pretty certain that it hasn't flown again. I made my way really deliberately up this hill that kind of goes parallel to the hill that it's on. But I didn't see which tree it flew into when it flew the last time, so it's somewhere in front of me, but I don't know where. There's so many branches that it's... There's still a squirrel sounding its alarm call to my left. And there's some birds kind of calling to my right, but they're not doing their alarm call, so I'm kind of hoping that maybe something will come along and kind of alert me to where the owl is. Maybe a flock of birds will come and start alerting to it or something like that, but I don't want to go any farther, because if it is still there, I'm just going to make it fly away. So I'm going to sit here, have my lunch, and hopefully I'll find it. Well, unfortunately, the owl bested me again. I sat, had my lunch, and had some tea. I was sitting there quietly for about a half hour. The squirrels stopped sounding their alarm call, and there was no sign of the owl. After things calmed down, I actually walked over towards the area that I thought it still was at, and I couldn't find it. Good news is, if it was still there, I didn't flush it out, which is good. But there's so much branches on top of the white pines, which I'm pretty sure it flew into a white pine, that there's pretty much no way I'm gonna find it where it is. So I'm gonna leave it where it was, and then I'm gonna head back down to this loop, do the loop, see if I find anything, and if not, head out. Doing the loop, and it takes you across a brook, or next to a brook, and I scared a kingfisher, but it didn't fly very far, so it actually doubled back and went up the brook a little bit ways, but I can see it now. It's about 100 yards in front of me, so I'm going to just keep an eye on it and see if it comes closer. We'll see. Well, I was able to get some footage of the kingfisher. It was really far away, but it ended up flying farther upstream, away from me. So, but it was nice to actually be able to see it and get some footage of it. But I think that's gonna be it for me today. The sun's already going down, and it's only about 2 o'clock. So I'm gonna head home, and as always, thank you, and I'll see you again next time.